What is happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the Plymouth Rescue. This is a 1954 Plymouth Savoy that had been parked since 1986. We were able to get that old flathead straight six running in our last video. It obviously needs some dialing in. Motor runs a little rough. We want to work on that some today, but we also want to get this thing cleaned up, start working on some of these dents, maybe try to get this thing ready to drive a bit more. Now, this car is obviously disgusting. I mean, we're talking about over 3 decades, and this thing has not been washed. I'm excited to see what is underneath. This is just one of my favorite things. You know, to begin with, that first run, getting these things fired back off is just so much fun, and we are so glad to be able to bring you all along with us. Dad and I just have an absolute blast. Once we get them going, bath is the next thing. It's so much fun getting all that grime off of there and seeing what it reveals underneath. Now, I think in this case, with as nasty as this one is, and that big white roof and everything, we're gonna give it a Comet wash to begin with. Well, we didn't have any Comet, but we've got some Barkeeper's Friend. This is some old school stuff. Scratch free, so we shouldn't be making too much of a big mess. We're not gonna get crazy with a brush or anything. We're just gonna get a couple rags out. We're gonna soak the car down. We're gonna douse it with this stuff, and let's see how it does. Well, the Comet wash or the Barkeeper's Friend wash, and then going over it with some magic eraser, and wow, what a difference. I mean, to be from this to this. Now, it's thin, it's cracked, we knew it would be, but this is pretty cool. So let's keep on moving down the car. Now, doing some digging into the paint on this car, I don't know why I always want to, I don't want to say go all out, because going all out would be sanding and repainting the thing, but I love when we can bring an old paint like this back. Now, it's not original. The original was obviously a metallic. This appears to probably have been painted way back in the day. It's either a lacquer and enamel. It's very thick. It's very deep paint. With quite a bit of time put into it, it has some awesome results. Let me show you the steps that we have found to bring that old green paint out. First, getting in here while it's still wet and pulling any of those major contaminants off of the top side. So when we start color sanding this, we're not pushing it and swirling it into the paint. And you know, you can see just how dull the paint is on this from oxidization. But also, somebody got crazy with some spray paint and painted all the little light rust marks. They kind of went crazy with it. So there's huge blotches of this paint all over the car. And so once you wet sand it down, it leaves the paint in the crack or where the little bit of rust was, but sands it all around back down to this paint here. So once we got that done, you can see it pulled a lot of trash out. And now we can start wet sanding or color sanding. And I do apologize about all the bug noises. They're a little crazy this time of year. And we're out here in the sticks. Starting with a foam interface and then 1000 grit. Now this paint is not great, but it's not horrendous. And so this is just a light cut. And we need to stay away from the edges and some of our really thin stuff. But this is just an initial cut it down, knock off some of this heavy paint down here. I'm telling you, I don't know what this paint is, but it is some thick stuff. With our first cut in there, we can move to a 2000. In, we've got a heavy duty cutting pad here. We're just using this 3M Extra Perfected EC/AC rubbing compound. And then we'll hit it with some conditioner. About 3 little dabs. Some conditioner. And then you want to start with a somewhat small area. You don't want to get too crazy. Start on one, work it all in. And then we will bump it up to 6. And we're just gonna put very light to moderate pressure, and it's just gonna be basically cutting it up and down, side to side, diagonal, back and forth, until we have very little residue left. And at that point we can wipe it off and we'll see what this turns into. Check that out. Now, far from perfect, and obviously we are not at all professional detailers. My goodness, what a difference. I just love the deep gloss this paint has. Now, before we go any farther, I think we need to go ahead and cut the entire car, especially because when you're blowing it off, you're still blowing little bits of stuff out of the trim and everything. We don't want to be fighting that, trying to do one panel at a time. So let's go ahead and get everything cleaned off. Let's go ahead and get it all wet sanded, and then we can start buffing the whole thing. Now that we've got the entire car cut all the way around, before we go ahead and start buffing, I do think we should go ahead and try to do a little professional PDR. Now, first thing, we're gonna go ahead and throw quite a bit of heat at it to try to keep the paint chipping to a minimum where it's not chipped already. Surprised that it didn't chip at all. It's kind of crazy. We'll take our special tool. Whoa, that's some solid metal. Wow, okay.
Maybe get a special 2x4.
That's stouter than I expected it to be.
That's a lot better.
Ah, that ain't bad.
A little bit right here.
There's nothing professional about that. I think if we could try maybe a PDR kit later on or something, this would be one definitely fun to try to work with and move some metal around. Kind of gotta, I was just joking when I said professional. We've never done, that's the extent of PDR we've done, was that right there. And the reason I was thinking it would do okay was like the Pontiac. I remember that whole door was crunched in. We were able to pop it back out and it looked great. This doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not pretty. Oh boy, what am I doing?
Oh yeah, look at it. It went ba-boing.
It's brand new. See how it moves? I can't see. Let's get this thing buffed. And now it is wax time to get this thing finished up. Now on things like the roof and the deck lid back there, we did end up going at it with the optical grade cutting polish just to finish off that last bit of oxidization that we had there. And it really did pull it out pretty well. Now obviously we are not professional detailers in any way, shape, or form, and this is a far from perfect car, but I am really surprised at just how well this thing is cleaning up after so many years and such an old paint job. We will be buffing it on with a finish polish pad, and we'll be using the Gratz Garage ceramic all-in-one wax. How do I get the hood? That's what I said, the roof, and I didn't even realize I said the roof. I have no idea. We'll do this real similar. Get it patted on, and the nice thing is this is a newer pad, but the more you use it, the more this stuff will just get mixed down in that pad real nice, and you're not as worried about trying to blow stuff off with this because we've obviously already cut everything off. Start with one. Get it on there. And let's work it in. Man, that is smooth. Now we know in our last video getting this thing to fire up, it's running better and better, but it's still not running perfect. We want to go ahead and just check everything out, see if we can't clean the valves up a little bit, see maybe what's going on there. So let's go ahead and pull this head. Now one thing that is nice, we can get the head gasket for less than $30 from our local auto parts store. We just need to verify if this is a 3.6 liter or a 3.8 liter. Most likely a 3.6, but the way you check is if it is a 2.312 bore, it is a 3.6 liter. If it is like a 2.52 bore, it is a 3.8 liter. Looks like we just grab our impact, run all our bolts off. We should be able to pop this thing off and see what's going on. I think we might need a new thermostat now. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's clean. It's really clean. It's just got carbon buildup. Oh, yeah. Just like the Jeep. Remember the Jeep? Identical. So it is our gasket bore, and so sure enough, it is just the standard 3.6 liter. This combustion chamber looks awesome. Look how good this thing looks. Maybe not like brand new, but not super crusty or anything. Definitely a good bit of crust there, and I think more than likely, oh yeah, that's what was holding our valves open. That's where our compression loss was. So we'll be able to clean everything up, and then we'll turn it over, make sure all the valves are open and closing just the way they should. Slap a new head gasket on there, and it should be good to go. You can see here, as I move them around, where that valve is seating really nicely. Then you get to this one, and you can tell it wasn't seating at all. This one was almost seating. Big chunks of carbon buildup though. And again, this one not really seating. You know, all we're doing here, we are not biting into, we're not trying to grind or clean or bite into any metal. We're just getting the gunk cleaned up, because thankfully this one looks really good once you do that.
Well, there might be a reason. That's all. That'd be why we ain't got no compression.
Well, we might have some sticky valves here. It pushes up really easy, it's just not wanting to smoothly drop back down. So you see, looking here at our head, 6 was running, 5 was running, 3, maybe a little, not as well, but running. 1 is running. You can see nice and clean 2, and 4 here, which are the 2 that are sticking, were not. And it looks like somebody's tried cleaning it up at one point in time. So hopefully that wasn't a previous issue, and the reason it was parked, maybe because of these issues, the carbon buildup issues. So if we can get those valves to free up, we're letting them soak a bit. We'll turn it over some more. What we're doing is just holding them down and rocking it and slowly trying to work maybe that little bit of rust that is on the bottom of those valves off. That was going up and down by itself. Ha ha! You beautiful little thing. Hey, it can at least be a 5-cylinder now. Look at that. Oh yeah, once it freed up, it's free. You darn straight.
That's nice.
Pretty time consuming. I definitely think finally just hooking the battery up instead of rocking it, getting it turning over. Oh my goodness. And I love the fact that we actually see physically what the issue was. We know why we were short those 2 cylinders. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There it was right there. So that is great that we have gotten those freed up. We're gonna let them soak a little bit, run to lunch, turn it over a few more times, then we can go to get this head stuck back on. Now, as far as tightening goes, we're going to start from the middle and work our way out. I'm going to start with 60, I'm going to go to 65, and then finish off with 70 foot-pounds of torque. Compression. Compression, 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 compression. Beautiful. 6 cylinders of compression. Now, while we're doing some work there with the top end, we might as well go ahead and show this carburetor some love. There we go. Of course, we know nice and clean, but I think we can make it even cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and mark our position there. Remove our choke assembly. Jumping into the bowl here. See, accelerator pump, which surprisingly worked, but very quickly failed, and it is just gone. Remove our needle assembly there. With that removed, we pull out our float ball, which obviously worked really well. I'm sure you noticed that idle adjustment run all the way in. We even had to open it up more. And if you look right there at your throttle plate, it is completely worn out. So we have tons and tons of a major vacuum leak there. That is definitely going to give us some running issues. I will have to see if there's possibly anything we can do with that. Time to make some soup. And of course, what we're using here is about a 50-50 Purple Power degreaser water mix. Let's see if we got some good soup. Oh, that's good soup. Now, I am blown away by the fact that you cannot get a kit for this. Thankfully, that lower gasket's fine, that gasket's fine. Again, the bowl gasket was what was bad. We can technically run on this. It might just weep. I can try to work with it a little bit. Might even just remake that gasket completely. But the biggest thing we have to focus on is that right there. As you can see, the screws are run in and then they're peened over. I'm gonna try to get in here and clean the bottom off. Obviously they're just brass. That one came out real easy. And real easy. Hey! Now we're obviously excited to take this thing for a spin as long as everything runs and does okay up there. Now while we're waiting on some carburetor stuff, if we get moving, we need to stop. I do not at this time have all the brake stuff for this car. There's a lot involved in that system. But we want to try to see if we can make something happen with the brakes. Now I did give the pedal a push and of course it was frozen completely solid. Couple little pushes on it, it popped free. Now that piston's probably stuck all the way up, but I think it's worth a shot. Let's try to put some fluid in it and see if it'll take anything. Oh my. There she goes. She just needed some motivation. Oh, it's brand new in there. You know, it's okay. I'll give it to it. I've seen a lot worse. I don't know, it's got fluid in there. It's low, so we might have a leaking wheel cylinder, but yeah, that's nice. Check out the piston actuation. Now, I just want to clarify, you know, if we can get these brakes to do something by filling it up, pumping them up, this is not for riding to town or trying to drive this thing halfway across the country or anything. This is just for putzing right here up and down the road. We would not take a chance like that and be that unsafe. But I think everything looks like it might be working there. I'm sure we probably have some rusty lines that might weep a little bit and stuff. But let's see if we can get some fluid in it, see if we can bleed each of the wheel cylinders, see if we can get some brakes working. Oh my, look at the bubbles. I gotta give it to these Goodyears. I don't think there could be much more dry rot in that tire, and the fact that all of these took air and at least held it for a little while is just ridiculous. Now, surprisingly, this hose is old, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not horrible. Definitely different rubber back in the day. You know, this is no way this is an original from '54, but sometime from the '80s, and it looks Not horrendous. Let's see if we can get any fluid pushing out. There is nothing left of this. Oh. It's already trying to push fluid, Dad. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, the darn nipples rusted off of the... the nipples rusted off of that bleeder, and it came loose. That is some beautiful, beautiful fluid. I mean, it's black. Woo! What are we doing? And again. Oh, geez. You know this hose has to be almost completely blocked on the inside. All right. Probably go work on the, we're getting quite a bit of air. Probably go work on the other side a little bit. Oh boy. There she goes. Ooh. Don't you break off in there. If I can get it out, I'm just going to go and pull this one, and it's a little crunchier. Yeah, bleeder is just completely blocked off. Got it freed up. There she goes. Oh man, that's nice. Can you believe let off? Is that brakes held?
I'm not holding it now.
Okay, hold them. I don't know, that side doesn't stop. Okay. Now that doesn't mean it's gonna stop the car. But I never would have thought, I mean, look at the fluid that come out of this thing, that those would have done anything. This wheel cylinder's nice and greasy. Oh my goodness, it's already trying to push fluid out. Let off. Look at that. I'm good with it now. I think the fact that these were able to break loose, they had that big tractor when they first drug it around, definitely helped the situation a bit. Yep. Oh my goodness. The fact that we got 3 out of 4 of those brakes to push, well, they all pushed fluid. 3 out of 4 of them had working wheel cylinders. Now that probably won't last long, but I have to say somebody probably, you know, a couple things. That's a stout old brake system. You know, they overbuilt stuff back then. Not only that, someone had to have been running some better quality fluid in this thing, which, I don't know, we were pumping straight rust mud out of this thing. And we got some brakes. Now clearly our thermostat housing, definitely a bit crunchy. So we went ahead and lopped the top off there. And then we do have one little pinhole, but I think we're gonna show you what we're gonna do here. Gonna go thermostatless for the time being, as this car definitely needs some coolant flushes to clean out some of this cooling system. We're going to attempt to put this molded hose on there. It's a little funky on there, but we've got a hose and it won't leak anymore. At least not from the engine side. As for that radiator, I think it's just gonna continue to leak. Everything's sealed back here. Radiator, of course. How do those even work? That's a I mean, that's wild. I don't know how you'd even seal that up. Well, I thought I'd get in there with some silicone like we've done in the past and goop it in and kind of patch it up for the time being. As soon as I would goop one up, another one would start, and now we've got about 776 leaks in this thing. And I just don't think I'm gonna be able to, by the time I get it all gooped up, we're not gonna have a radiator anymore. It might be better even just loop the hose for now, but I think that radiator is not gonna be any good. It's a shame because it's such a cool honeycomb radiator, but it's shot. What we'll be doing is installing new oversized 5/16 bushings, and what you use here is a reamer. Before we ream it, we've got to go ahead and drill it out to size. Oh, so much better. Oh my goodness. Head is on, carb is back on. Let's go ahead and send some fuel to it, see if it holds, see if it works, and let's see if this thing will run again. And hopefully on 6 cylinders this time. Gone ahead and dialed in the fuel system on this thing. We've got our boat tank, of course, fuel pump, battery. Let's take a look and see what that carburetor does. A little bit of accelerator pump adjustment. Let's see what she does. Come on. Dude, we are idling! Sounds a little bit less like a Harley than it did before. Definitely still straight piped, but that's 6 cylinders and it's idling. That thing's smooth as can be on 6 cylinders. Definitely a bit aggravating pulling the head and cleaning everything up, but it was worth it. You could put a glass of water on that. Hey! Great oil pressure. Temp's actually starting to come up there. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it runs so good now. That is awesome for a pieced together carburetor, some hammered valves. Whoa. I noticed with heat, the radiator slowed way down. It probably actually just threw a bunch of trash down in the honeycomb. But hey, if it gets us where we can drive it a little bit and doesn't overheat on us. I think it's time, let's take this thing for a spin. Excited? Nervous? Let's do this. Throttle hangs a little bit. I love the way, listen to this thing. This thing is awesome! I love the way this car feels. Is huge. I love it so much. No first gear synchro. I love this thing! Let's go for a spin.
Got it all covered.
Look, that's perfect
This
for
is
you.
nice. Drop Miss Daisy back here.
Are you Miss Daisy? Come on, Miss Daisy, let's go for a ride.
Look at her.
Tires are terrible on this thing.
They're brand new. Come on.
We're trying to get it on. You hear the exhaust?
Oh yeah. It's okay.
Gotta spray that throttle rod. Feel it? Yep. I'm gonna turn around like right here.
Brake's nice.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, good.
It's not exactly easy to drive, okay? That throttle's getting stickier. Perfect. Oh, what a cruiser, man. There you have it, 69-year-old Plymouth Savoy that has been off the road for 37 years, over half of its life. We got it running. We definitely had to do quite a bit more to get it running good. Cleaned up the outside, did some cutting and buffing. It's not perfect, but it is such a cool car, and it drives, and it is so much fun. We really do hope you have enjoyed the rescue of this 1954 Plymouth. If you have, be sure to subscribe button, notification bell to keep up with our future uploads. And if you have been a part of the channel, we do appreciate it so incredibly much. Dad and I get to do this right here, bring these old cars back to life and enjoy them because of each and every one of you. So thank you. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.